It's 2023 and home arcades are on the rise. But what did I do? I purchased these. And how exactly do these stack up? Stick around and find out. First up is this. It's the Dig Dug model from Super Impulse Limited 2019 edition. It is fairly small, as it does have a keychain. In order to put it on your keys, it is that tiny, as you can see here with the comparison of my hand. On the side, it has the artwork reminiscent to the classic arcade cabinet found in local arcades in the 80s. Both sides have stickers which came pre-stuck on in the package. In the front, it has a light-up marquee, 2 buttons for playing the actual game, and a small joystick used to move the protagonist around. When you do turn it on, you will see it will have full color LCD screen, and it doesn't actually look too bad. As you can see here, the LCD, it does look pretty good with the colors. However, it is fairly small. So trying to actually see exactly where your character is sometimes is a hassle. Each of the buttons feel really good when you're pressing down on them. They do have a solid sound. The controller itself, though, is a little less as impressive. As you move it around, you'll experience sometimes almost like there's too much space. You do feel like a little click, like when you're going up and down, left and right, but it does feel like you have to kind of push it a little extra, probably because of the size of it. And unfortunately, sometimes you don't know whether or not you're going left or right or down, and you could get stuck in a situation the enemy will catch up to you, and you'll be pretty frustrated. But other than that, it's not bad. When it comes to the sound itself is very clear. You can definitely hear the sound of it. And the sound itself sounds very similar to the arcade version of Dig Dug. What I will say with this model is the sound itself does not have a volume button, so you can't turn it up or down. And if you're using it as a keychain, there is on the back an area in which you would use to turn it on and off. But sometimes it may turn on in your pocket accidentally, and you're just having the sound of the game play in your pocket. So that part may be not so convenient. As for the gameplay, there is some things about the game that doesn't really go on par with the arcade. For instance, moving up to one of the rocks will automatically start triggering it to fall down. Unlike normally, where you would have to move away from it and it would fall down based on how far of a hole there is. It is really good to kind of just have it and just to play it. In fact, the quality of it, even though most of this is just stickers on the side, it's actually fairly good for the price that I paid. When playing this, you tend to have to kind of hold it in your hand. Placing it on a table isn't super great. Because of the marquee kind of hangs over the edge, it blocks off part of the screen on top. When I purchased this just a few months ago on Amazon.ca, the price of it was $28.81. In conclusion, this thing may be small, it does pack a bit of quality with it. Even though I gotta say it's not the cheapest of the 3 that I purchased, but because it kind of has a small replica, you didn't have to build it or anything. It came pre-done already in the box, and as well as the side arts, and as well as the light up marquee. I think this is actually a fairly good product, and well, it's not bad. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what the other ones are like. Next up is the My Arcade Data East collection. The artwork is just some different types of Data East games with the Data East logo pasted on the lower portion of the arcade. The marquee itself and the LCD screen all blend in together a little bit. Doesn't exactly look like an arcade. It looks more like an arcade on the side. On the front, it kind of looks kind of a mishmash of an arcade and a console with the embedded marquee on the top. The control panel itself comes with two buttons, A and B, a start and a reset. The controls in this one are much bigger. This is a bigger model as well. On the back, where the speakers are located on the top, there's an area for the batteries, and the volume buttons are on the bottom with the power switch. Turning it on, you'll see a full color LCD. It doesn't look too bad. There is a little bit of issue with some of the text, but you will see this has 108 games. Don't be fooled, however, only 8 of them are the licensed games from Data East. The others are what you would find on filler cartridges that you would get bootlegs of online. A lot of these, I don't think any of these I would have heard of or even seen before. In fact, I don't remember playing half of these, even as I was just looking to fill time and check out the product. Main 8 Data East games that come on this are Burger Time, Bad Dudes, Breakthrough, Caveman Ninja, Heavy Barrel, Side Pocket, B-Wings, and Karate Champ. Each of these games seem to have a ROM maybe more dedicated towards the device itself. It just has start on a lot of them. There's no options, can't change anything. Luckily with this model, it does have the ability to turn the sound off and down. It has about 3 different clicks of sound, so you can turn it up about 3 different clicks, and you can turn it down. It does get fairly okay on the lowest setting, so you can still hear it and it's not too quiet, but also it's not too loud that maybe it'll wake people up. Now I guess just about the time we get through the gameplay of each game. For the most part, the game itself plays like the classic NES game, or even what you consider the arcade game. The up and down seems to be working absolutely fine, and so does the left and right for the most part with the joystick. I will say though, however, that with the joystick on this game, going left and right can be a hassle when you don't know when you're on a certain floor. Oftentimes I get stuck just because I think I'm on level with the floor, but in actuality I'm off. Bad Dudes is pretty good as well. Actually probably better than the other one. It does have that classic screen with the president. Are you bad enough, dude, to save the president? He's captured by ninjas. Alright. And I mean, a lot of these devices, doesn't require a lot of CPU power anymore, right? So it's very easy to kind of emulate these nowadays. And I'm not sure how much space this whatever the unit has in here is, an SD card or PCB, whatever it has inside of it that lets it do it to control. The buttons feel really good for the punches and the kicks and such, so there's no issues playing this game. I can't say I really played Breakthrough on the NES or any other thing in console or otherwise, so I'm not sure what the accuracy of this is. I will say that this game can be pretty annoying, especially when you have to go fast and boulders and such come down and hit you and there's blockages and you have to jump over them. I'm sure playing this game enough I would kind of learn it, but hey, this is actually pretty good when it comes to the fact you're getting the game as one of the 8. 8 is a Data East game, so that's good. The text, however, because the screen is so small, the text is going to be jumbled up. It's going to be hard to kind of read it. And that goes with any sort of game with the text, but that's all you have with the limited pixels. All right, Caveman Ninja. I don't know if that's supposed to be like Joe and Mac or what, but I haven't heard of Caveman Ninja until now. But either way, it does feel kind of like Adventure Island. Pretty good still. When you jump and shoot, you kind of pause for a second, which is kind of different. You have a health bar and some score. No options menu as per the other game. Same thing. Oh no! Oh no! Heavy barrels also on this as well, which is basically a bit of a gunning game. I guess a running gun sort of game. Feels pretty good moving around, especially if you press down on the controller a little bit. You can feel where the little dips are so that you know you're going in the right direction. Very difficult game, as I think it's it was known as one of the probably most brutal arcade games when it came out, just because of how crazy things get with this game. Alright, this was one of the games that I noticed had an actual training mode. So this one actually, Side Pocket, that East game, does give you an options where the other ones did not. Side Pocket is a game that I've played quite a bit on the Nintendo. I believe this game came on the 101 cartridges. So it is pretty good. The aim seems to be pretty good. The sound seems to be pretty good. There's nothing wrong with this one. If you kind of just want to play it as it is, it's absolutely fine. B-Wings, another game by Data East. Much like the 1941 series, it's a shooting game, and I don't think it's a bullet hell of such, but these, there's so much around. It's the only issue with this game. Like, literally, like, it just seems like it's hard to see what's going on because the enemies kind of blend in a little bit with the background. I'm not sure what those are supposed to be on the bottom. If those are supposed to be like a city or a town. But then I don't know what these big things are, if they're ships or whatever, but when you bang into them, you did. And lastly is of the 8 main ones that I'm going to be reviewing. I'm not going to do the other ones, just doing a quick recap of these. Is Karate Champ. I do know this game was notorious for the horrible controls. I'm going to see how it is now. Okay. That was a lot easier. It doesn't seem to be too bad. I do know with the Commodore 64 version, it's pretty horrible. But the different directions, you can do different types of attacks, and all you gotta do is make a good connection, and or block or dodge in order to get through to the next round. Oh, it gets funky. Yep. This game does have horrible controls, but it's not on this console, this little thing. It's just the controls in which it was made out to be. I believe the A button allows you to attack in front of you, and the B button allows you to attack behind you. Well, that's the detailed version of the Data East collection of 108 games by My Arcade. I think it's pretty good. Like I said, the sound seems okay. With regards to the controls seem pretty good. They handle, and the buttons do feel like you're pressing on them. My review on that is that you are getting a nice few games, which is pretty good. The fact you're getting 8 games that are licensed, and as well as 100 more unlicensed games. It could have just came with the 8, and I would have been just as happy. Lastly on the list, we have the Pac-Man. It is done by Basic Fun Incorporated from the Bandai Namco version license of Pac-Man. It is the largest of the three, as you can see here. It has the Pac-Man logo on the sides, which is pretty good. I don't think it has anything close to what would be the arcade style. The marquee kind of top of it, just a sticker, and the LCD screen, which is not a full color LCD screen, but we'll get to that in a few moments. It just has a start button, a mode button, and also an on and off and sound button. The controller itself shows that there's up, down, left, right, and has the little indents in it showing that, as well as the speakers. There are two on the front of the device, and I will get to the quality of the sound soon. On the back, it just has an area for your batteries to go in, and a couple of different notches there, I guess for mounting. I'm not really sure. The screen itself is some type of pre-laid LCD, sort of like how the Tiger games were. It does come with some colors here, red, yellow, and some blue for the outline of the maze. The character moves around in kind of a jittery fashion, perhaps about a frame a second or so, and it is a bit jarring at the side of the actual movement of the character. The characters do move seamlessly pretty good with the controls. However, there is a couple of weird things. For instance, if you move to an area in which you're moving straight, if you press the opposite direction, you can actually stop the character instead of letting it go to the direction that you're pointing towards. If you press up or down, for instance, on an area where the up and down is a wall, your character will just stop there, which is not really something that happens in the original game. The different types of ghosts are just red outlines of the ghost and are not actually the ones that we recognize with the pinky, binky, and the different sort of colors that associate with them. The AI that controls the ghosts also seems to be rather random. They don't really follow a pattern, much like in the arcade games or even Nintendo, where each of the ghosts kind of have their own behaviors, in which you can gauge how they're going to move based on which one's chasing you. Everything else seems to be pretty normal, except for the fact that there's no bonus fruit, and some of the layouts with the Pac-Man is different than the original. When you look at the screen itself, it is fairly bad. If you look from the top down, if you're placing it on a desk, you'll see all the different outlines of possibilities of where your character will go, and as well as the ghost outlines. It makes it very difficult to play if you're playing it on a desk, and you will have to hold it at an angle in which you can have a front view, or at least one that's slightly tilted back. I paid $31.99, the most expensive of all the different small ones in which I purchased at this time. I will say this one had the lowest amount of quality, but looks the nicest on my desk. As you can see, it does have a fairly large frame, and it's really good to stand out from the rest. However, turning it on, you'll have a different type of impression of what this really is. It's more of a Tiger game than an actual Pac-Man remake. In the end, this game, if you would even call it that, not one I would recommend, other than the fact it is fairly large, as you can see here by my hand. It is not something that I would say is fun to actually play. It's one that I've turned on, maybe just for this review, and once in order to sort of see what the product was like when I received it. So we reviewed 3 of the mini arcades in which I purchased, and I don't know, let's see exactly how they do stack up. So I would say at number 3, Pac-Man by Basic Fun Incorporated. This one here gave me the least amount of fun, and actually was not the most fun to even review. It is the largest one with the largest LCD screen, but the quality for the price in which it's almost double one of these little devices I already have, not worth it. Second place, I would say, would be this Data East. This one came in as the cheapest, so it was $19.99, and it did come with 108 games. The quality of it is pretty good, and it does have pretty good controls. The only thing that I did not really like about it is it does not follow any sort of authentic design for the arcade. While it's pretty interesting to look at, and it does have a bunch of different games on it from Data East, I didn't find the games all that fun. However, at times I do find myself playing and scrolling through the 108 games to try to find some type of golden gem. I have yet to do so. Number 1 would be this. It is not exactly the most cheapest of the devices and not so as expensive, so it's a nice happy medium. At $28, it is a bit expensive, and I did see other versions ranging up to $40 and plus, but it does have a more authentic design. The detail to the light up marquee really makes me feel like they really cared about the device. The game itself does kind of feel a little bit cramped in the tiny LCD screen, and the fact that it is big enough to go on my keychain, can't say I would ever put it in my pockets to bring with me. However, it's always an option. With this device, with this arcade, I would say this one is one that I reach over and take from my desk and play it more often than the rest. Even though the game itself is kind of not my type of game with Dig Dug, I do find myself just enjoying the looking at it and turning it on to see the... Alright, if you like what you see, please subscribe and like below and let me know. If you have any of these machines and you'd like to contest my review or even agree with it, please comment. Alright, well that's everything. My name is Jason, this is J Arcade, see you guys later.